Good evening. Welcome to News Stories on Normally Channel 1.1 FM, your number one development radio station. I am Rosemary Umobasi Wibu. The headlines: Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, Hurewa, demands release of former Minister Uche Nnaji. Renewed violence hits Benue Plateau, leaves 27 dead. U.S.-Iran trade claims over Strait of Hormuz as tensions flare. 2026 FIFA World Cup, England, Argentina reach semi-finals as Sinner takes Wimbledon title. Now the news in detail. A civil society organization promoting women's rights, gender equality, and inclusive environment for women and girls, Virgin Heart Foundation, has called on higher institutions to establish safe, confidential, and accessible channels for students to report cases of sexual harassment and gender-based violence. In an interview with Omalicha FM's correspondent, Amarachi Adimoko, the founder of the organization, Peace DK, said many victims remain silent due to fear of intimidation, victimization, and retaliation, allowing perpetrators to continue their actions without consequences. DK urged students to promptly report incidents of stalking, threats, harassment, or any form of abuse and seek support from school authorities or credible civil society organization. She stressed that breaking the culture of silence through early reporting, effective response mechanism, and stronger protection for survivors would help curb gender-based violence and create a safer learning environment for students. The Virgin Heart Foundation also called on tertiary institutions to strictly enforce policies against sexual harassment, ensure prompt investigation of reported cases, and hold perpetrators accountable, maintaining that a safe and supportive learning environment is essential for students to thrive academically and socially. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, Huriwa, has called on Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, to either release former Minister of Innovation and Science and Technology, Uche Nnaji, or publicly justify his continued detention. In a statement issued by its national coordinator, Emmanuel Omubiko, the group argued that issues surrounding Nnaji's academic records are already before a federal high court and urged the anti-graft agency to allow the judicial process to run its course. Huriwa expressed concerns that the timing of the arrest amid political developments ahead of the 2007 Enugu State governorship election could fuel public perceptions of political interference. The rights group also called on the Attorney General of the Federation, the National Assembly, and the Nigerian Bar Association and civil society organizations to monitor the matter and ensure due process is upheld. Governor Daud Alawal says Zamfara is shifting from exporting raw lithium to processing the mineral locally following the inauguration of a $200 million lithium mining and processing plant in Boko, Zumi local government area. He said the project will increase the value of the state's mineral resources, create employment opportunities, and stimulate economic growth while ensuring greater benefit for host communities. The last angle is particularly Fresh attacks by suspected armed groups have claimed at least 27 lives in Benue and Plateau State, raising fresh concerns over the persistent insecurity in Nigeria's north-central region. The attacks occurred over the weekend in Benue State. 18 people were killed in separate attacks on communities in Otukpo local government area on Saturday, triggering protests by residents who demanded improved security and government interventions. In Plateau State, 9 members of the same family, including a 2-month-old baby, were killed when gunmen attacked communities in Riyom local government area in the early hours of Sunday. The latest attack have displaced several families and renewed calls on the federal government and security agencies to take decisive actions to protect vulnerable communities and end the cycle of violence. The Nigerian chapter of the West African College of Physicians, WACP, has urged the federal and state government to prioritize sustainable healthcare financing, strengthening medical training, infrastructure, and embrace affordable digital technologies to improve healthcare delivery across the country. The call was contained in a communique signed by the chairman of the Nigerian chapter, Professor Benjamin Uzochukwu, and the National Secretary, Dr. Sunday Malomo, and issued at the end of the college's 50th annual general and scientific meeting, which concluded in Ibadan on Saturday. The college also called for the timely release of the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, improved electricity and water supply in public health facilities, and strong incentives to encourage doctors to serve in rural communities. On medical education, WACP urged the federal government and relevant regulatory bodies to invest in digital infrastructure and establish minimum standard for technology-enabled training, stressing that digital tools should complement rather than replace bedside clinical practice. You're listening to the news on Omalicha Radio 91.1 FM or where I'm Rosemary Unwabasi Bebu. More when we come back from the break. Do stay with us.
News breaks. Omalicha 91.1 breaks in. I admit the decision will impose extra burden on the masses of our people. I feel your pain. Reliable. I disagree with them. What they're actually preaching is the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is accepting wrongdoing, accepting what is unacceptable. That is using God's name in vain. And accurate. I had the opportunity to speak with the president on the issues of security and insecurity in Imo State. Listen to Omalicha News 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. Saturday and Sunday for the latest local and international news on Omalicha 91.1 Owerri. All these institutions, we need to inform. They need budget overhauling and the information. Omalicha News, news you can trust.
Welcome back. You're still listening to the news on Omalicha Radio 91.1 FM Owerri. I'm Rosemary Mwabasi Bibu. On the international scene, Iran says the strategic Strait of Hormuz was closed on Sunday, while the United States insists the vital shipping lane remains open, underscoring renewed tension between the two countries following fresh military exchanges. The Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important marine checkpoints, is a key route for global oil and liquefied natural gases export. Any disruptions to traffic through the narrow waterway have significant implications for international energy markets and global trade. The conflict claim came after the latest round of U.S. and Iranian strikes reignited concerns over security in the Gulf, despite a ceasefire agreement reached last month that was intended to bring an end to the broad Middle East conflict. Iran has repeatedly threatened to shut the strait during periods of heightened tension, while the United States has maintained a strong naval presence in the region to ensure freedom of navigation. The latest dispute has raised fears of further escalation, with global markets and major oil importing nations closely monitoring developments. And on sport, England and Argentina have secured the final two places in semi-final of the 2026 FIFA World Cup following dramatic quarter-final victories. England came from behind to defeat Norway 2-1 after extra time, with Jude Bellingham scoring both goals to send the Three Lions into the last four. In the other quarterfinals, defending champions Argentina overcame Switzerland 3-1 after extra time. The results complete the semi-final lineup, with France set to face Spain on Tuesday, July 14th, while England will take on Argentina on Wednesday, July 15th, as the four remaining teams battle for a place in the World Cup final. The Nigerian national football team Super Eagles goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali has rejoined Chippa United 5 months after leaving the South African club to mutual consent. The 30-year-old goalkeeper was officially unveiled by the club on Sunday ahead of the 2026-2027 season. Chippa United announced his return on its official social media platform, saying it was delighted to welcome him back to the Eastern Cape. Nwabali had terminated his contract with the club in February in search of a new challenge, but spent several months without competitive football. The spell affected his playing time and also cost him his place in the Super Eagles setup. The goalkeeper, who became a fan favorite after helping Nigeria reach 2023 African Cup of Nations final, will now look to revive his career with regular first-team football. And in tennis, world number one Jannik Sinner successfully defends his Wimbledon male single title after coming from a set down to defeat Alexander Zverev 6-7, 7-6, and 6-3, 6-4 in Sunday's final at the All England Club. The victory earned Sinner his second consecutive Wimbledon crown and fifth Grand Slam title, further strengthening his grip on the top spot in the ATP rankings. Zverev, who was making his first Wimbledon final appearance, produced a spirited display but fell short as the Italian completed an impressive comeback. And that's the news on Omalicha Radio. If you have an eyewitness report or wish to make inquiries, reach out to our news desk at Omalicha Radio 91.1 FM via calls to 090-3067-0799. Thank you for listening. I'm Rosemary Umwabasi. Baby, good evening. Alright, thank you guys for listening. We've come to the end of the news today. I don't know what started to choke me.